Hello, my name is Ashley Blackwell and I'm a senior majoring in animal science. Today I'm going to be talking about how stress can affect a horse's performance. So stress can affect any animal's body in a positive or negative way. When it comes to the horse, and as discussed in class, there are two types of stress. Good stress is the stressful condition in which the horse can find a solution that will relieve the stress. Harmful stress is a stressful condition in which there is no possible solution or escape. Stress in horses, what it does to a horse internally and externally, how stress is indicated, and how to prevent stress-provoked behaviors will all be discussed, beginning with how stress affects a horse internally. Internal stress takes place inside the horse's body and causes damage to the horse's everyday performance. It immediately affects the horse's endocrine system and involves hormones such as epinephrine, norepinephrine, and stress hormones. These hormones are released by the sympathetic nervous system and play a role in determining the horse's fight or flight response. Internal stress can also cause an increase in heart and respiratory rate, as well as an increase in blood pressure. In extreme circumstances, cortisol plays a role in helping the horse relieve stress when there is an overwhelming amount brought onto the horse. Examples of internal stress include illness or psychological conditions like anxiety. According to Dr. Carrie Williams, psychological stresses are based on a horse's personality and its perception of life. For example, some horses are simply more stressed than others by being in a stall for longer periods of time. No one can realistically solve every single stressor brought onto a horse. It is actually good for a horse to go through small disputes of stress as long as it does not go on for an extended amount of time. External stress can be described as an uneasy physical state or even a stressful environment. When a horse is too stressed externally, they may no longer be able to exert the energy they need to get out of that stressful situation. The majority of stressors is man-made, like being transported, a new surrounding, etc., and should be limited when possible. A study was done to measure cortisol concentrations when hauling horses in trailers. Based on these levels, the stress associated with transporting horses seemed to be drastically larger than what the penned horses experienced, at least for the beginning 20 hours of hauling. The big increase in cortisol concentration that happened at hour 27 and hour 30 for the penned horses may have been associated with concentration. Other stressors that are not necessarily man-made can include things like a drastic change in weather or temperature. A horse's basic stress response typically begins with a change in behavior, either by moving away from the stimulus, swishing of the tail, bucking, tensing up, or etc. The sympathetic nervous system will produce an involuntary action of the intestines like diarrhea, or will have something like the endocrine glands have the production of adrenaline and cortisol, and an increase in heart rate. Finally, the neuroendocrine system will be activated, allowing the horse's system to increase its energy utilization. The following is a table regarding how each horse may deal with stress depending on personality. So, demonstrative confident horse may let you know that it's stressed by bucking, kicking, biting, or may just be very curious. A demonstrative fearful horse worries about everything. They may be shy at first when it sees things and needs more time to relax than other horses. A passive confident horse usually wonders, what's everyone worried about? They're not normally stressed and internalizes stress or shows little change when stressed. They are usually the last one in the field to take off running if something runs out of the woods. And finally, passive or fearful horses always want to please. They seem willing to do anything but tighten muscles and lips when stressed, and they also won't show fear until pushed over the limit. So horses take stresses very differently. However, when a horse is subjected to prolonged stress or distress, they could develop irregular bad behavior and have an everlasting fear memory. Some symptoms of distress include frequent confirmation of poor health, reoccurring performance sicknesses or ailments, and possibly the requirement of medications or surgical treatment depending on the type of disease the horse gets as a result of distress. Another major warning sign of distress is behavioral changes. Behavioral changes could consist of increased aggression, abnormal behavior, and stereotypes. One of the most common stereotypes due to stress is cribbing. Cribbing is the unusual behavior of biting a firm item like a fence or a stall door and pulling on the item while sucking air in. This behavior could lead to specific kinds of colic and stomach ulcers as shown in this figure. Prevalence of gastric ulcers is estimated from 53 to 93% and is caused by transport or stall stress like cribbing. If cribbing becomes a problem, consider increasing forage intake and turning the horse out onto pasture. Allow the horse social interaction and provide cribbing boards. Weaving is another common stereotype and is usually the event of the horse consistently swinging from side to side and shaking its head back and forth. In time, this could wear down the horse's hooves and the stall's floor, causing an external problem to the horse. For treatment and prevention, increase turnout time and consider providing a mirror or social housing. There are many things to provoke and trigger stress in a horse. When attempting to minimize stress in any horse's life, here is a summary of a few things to remember. Keep horses turned out as much as possible, but if not possible, feed ad libitum hay. Stick to a routine, but if you need to make changes, do it very slowly. When traveling, take items that are familiar, like your own hay, water, grain, things like that. Avoid riding in extreme weather conditions. Feed a well-balanced diet, maintain a good health program, provide a pleasant environment, provide regular varied exercise, allow for playtime, prevent boredom, allow your horse social activity, and finally, keep yourself happy, healthy, and stress-free to ensure the same experience for your horse. In conclusion, there are many stress factors that can affect a horse's performance. We know that there are two types of stress, good stress and harmful stress, and we want to eliminate as much harmful stress as possible. Stress can also affect a horse differently internally and externally, depending on the severity of stress. Lastly, we know how to indicate when a horse is becoming stressed or is already stressed and what to do with the two common types of behavioral stress, which are cribbing and weaving. Stress is not always a bad thing and can affect a horse's performance in a good way. Each horse is different and each type of stress has various possible solutions that can result in a happy ending for the horse. These are my references, and I really hope that you enjoyed my presentation today, and I hope you learned something about how performance and stress can affect a horse. Thank you.